Hello, welcome to episode 37 of the podcast. This time, we're talking about RMC. So as many of you, well, some of you may know that we produced an RMC explained video. It's Rocky Mountain Construction a few weeks ago. And at the
Was
end...
it only a few weeks ago?
I don't know.
Wow.
At the end, I kind of alluded to some thoughts. I feel like RMC is a company who many people see in a kind of only a positive view, positive
Right.
mindset. And sometimes I feel like they shouldn't always be viewed in a positive mindset. So we'll expand on some of the things that I spoke about at the end of the video.
Controversial opinions.
Not controversial opinions, more just kind of like observations. And perhaps maybe realizations that people haven't really thought about. But for people who don't know, Rocky Mountain Construction is an American roller coaster manufacturer. They only dabble in roller coasters. Or now they only do.
So did they... I only know RMC as the people who RMC stuff.
Uh-huh.
But did they actually just make coasters before?
So the guy, Freddie Grubb, who started the company with his wife, he started working for a theme park and they wanted him to build a few wooden coasters
Right.
for the theme park, basically. So
Wait, so they wanted one guy to make
No.
something?
He was the guy who actually physically built them. The roller coasters were
Okay.
quote, built by another
By
company,
one-
fabricated by another company, but they were physically
He
built.
put them together.
Yeah. So, and this kind of stems to the difference. The words like built, construct, and fabricate,
Yeah.
they all kind of mean different things. Like people who fabricate the track might not be the people who build the ride, right?
Right.
So, in the sense that, I don't know, for say, the Smiler, Gerstlauer fabricated the track. They
Which
probably
means
didn't
produced
actually.
it. But they designed it.
So yeah, this stems on even to an even bigger issue. Let's take B&M because I know B&M designed the track.
Right.
Clermont Steel Fabricators fabricate the track.
Okay, which
And
is
then-
like physically make it.
Yeah, and then whatever construction company the theme park employs
Yeah.
builds the roller coaster.
Okay. Which is construction.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, there's fabrication and then there's construction. So design, fabricate, construct. So Fred started by constructing wooden roller coasters for other companies.
So he just went around and put together all the pieces for
Well,
other people.
Yeah. He worked at this park called Silverwood Theme Park, and their manager wanted some wooden coasters.
Okay.
He was like the construction manager, not manager, but
Engineer guy.
yeah, the main construction guy. So he built two wooden coasters, him and the other team, his team at Silverwood. And the company that who were building those rides or fabricating those rides, even though they're wood, you can't really fabricate them. Designing those
Yeah.
rides, Custom Coasters International wanted to hire him.
So wait, did they give him the plans and then he like cut all the wood to the
Yeah.
right size?
Him and the team at Silverwood, yeah.
Oh, so he fabricated as well.
He fabricated that.
And
Well, wooden
constructed.
coasters are constructed on site, but they
Yeah.
are fabricated on site
Fabrication and construction happens at the same time.
for traditional wooden coasters
Yeah.
because they're literally cut to size on site.
That's pretty mad that he did that.
Him and the rest
that
of his
doesn't
team. It
make-
wasn't one guy.
No, I know, but that
Yeah.
in my mind it happens by machines and like
No, but this you
no
watch
to cut the wood.
you watch Wicker Man. We watch Wicker Man be cut. People were literally cutting and bolting pieces of
I
wood
don't
together.
remember that, but
That's literally how it
but
works.
that's mad that how long that must take to do all of that.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
So
Anyway.
yeah, so he did that. Turned down a job at CCI, Custom Coast International, and started his own business.
Wait, so he was like, hang on, I could actually just turn this into a business and make more money.
Yeah. So then he started his own business and kind of just got into the kind of work of building things for theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
So he built Silverwood's water park.
Okay.
Built some other stuff for them. He managed to build an SNS wooden roller coaster, and one of the big things he did, or the company did, this is RMC now. So RMC was founded in 2000.
So RMC started as this company where Fred, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Had a team who were just constructing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what RMC was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they built El Toro, which is an Intamin prefabricated wooden roller coaster
Right.
designed by Intamin, fabricated by someone else probably.
Yeah.
He built that, he constructed that on site for them, and then that was in 2005, and then did a one in South Korea, same type, in 2007. And by constructing so many wooden roller coasters and he was also fixing them at this time as well, going to parks and replacing some parts of previous wooden roller coasters to make
Right,
them.
so like repairs.
Yeah, repairs. And through all of that, he realised that wooden roller coasters are garbage, basically, for maintenance. They're a maintenance nightmare.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, I want to come up with a better system, a better ride system that isn't as painful to maintain, but is still, interesting and different. And then, interestingly, at the same point in time, a very famous person in the roller coaster designing world called Alan Schilke. He was working for a company who was working with Six Flags, who were dealing with the same problem of the fact that all of their wooden roller coasters were getting really old and crap.
Right.
So Six Flags wanted Alan to try and figure out a way to make them less crap and more reliable.
Okay.
And Fred also
came
wanted
to
to
that
do the same
realization
thing.
on his own.
Also wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Wait, did they get together?
they got together
Aw, that's so
to do
cute.
that. So then they came up with a thing called the iBox track,
Okay.
which is basically like what you do is you take so wooden roller coasters are obviously wooden supports,
Yeah.
and then on top of those wooden supports you get six or so layers of laminated wood,
Okay.
and that's your track. And on top of that you put a very thin steel rail,
Okay.
and your wheels run on top of that thin steel rail.
Right.
So the track is wooden, but there's a steel running rail on top to
Okay.
reduce wear, basically.
Mhm.
He thought, scrap that. That's the garbage bit.
Mhm.
We'll just make it this steel I-beam. You know those like I-beam.
Oh, so like
construction,
it looks like an eye.
Looks like an eye.
Yeah, but it runs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought, we'll just screw that. We'll just get rid of all of that and just put a steel I-beam, and that'll be the track, and we'll run.
Wait,
the
so
ride
there's
on that.
no laminated wood underneath.
There's no
it?
laminated wood. The supports are wooden, but
Okay.
we're just gonna have this whole metal I-beam,
Right.
because it's usually the track that was taking the brunt of the force. So if we make the track stronger,
But how's the I-beam connected to the wood? How?
just through bolts and stuff.
But what
Through
kind
other
of wood
I-beams.
frame?
So
Instead
usually-
of the 6 laminated bits, what's there?
Usually it's like the rails connected via a cross tie that is is metal as well, and then
Yeah.
the wood connects to that cross tie,
Okay.
which is how most roller coasters work anyway.
So the metal is like completely separate to any wood pieces.
What do you mean?
Like the
completely
roller
separate?
coaster runs on just metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't touch any.
It
wood.
doesn't touch wood anymore.
But no roller coaster touches wood. The wooden coasters don't touch wood either.
Yeah, but they had the 6 laminated
Yeah, but they're
sheets
made
underneath,
of. Yes, exactly.
which was part of the structure that it was on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're just talking with.
Is that why they're smoother then?
Yes.
Because there's no wood involved.
Well, there's wooden supports.
Yeah.
But there's no
But there's
wood
no
involved
wood
on the
involved
track.
in the actual bit that's
yeah,
running on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was his idea. Everyone said it was stupid,
Oh.
basically, and that you couldn't do it. And then he did it,
Cool.
and then it worked. They tested it, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And Six Flags were like, "Sure, we'll give it a go. Why not?" You know. So they put it on one of their coasters, basically, and this is kind of the whole RMC thing. So they took this crappy wooden coaster called the Texas Giant,
Mm-hmm.
and then renamed it the New Texas Giant very
Are
creatively.
you joking?
And-
That it's actually called the
yeah,
new.
Yeah.
Wow.
And with that whole process, with all kind of first models or first rides of a new model, you always take it, unless you're a crazy company, you always kind of take it a bit, you take it easy. So what they did was they knew that their new track would be better and more versatile than wooden track, but they didn't go crazy. They thought, let's basically exaggerate all of the elements, but nothing too mental. So
Okay.
no inversions, no really steep drops, no really sharp turns.
So, okay, so let's go back to what you mean by RMCing.
Yeah.
So they're taking Texas Giant and changing the layout so it's more extreme than it was.
Right. So what they do is they strip off the track.
Okay.
Alan Shilkey, or did, he's one of the people who designed the new layouts. They design a new layout following mostly the old layout,
Okay, but better.
but improve it. So they alter it. So say they make the first lift hill taller and then the drop steeper.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of having a very slow turn, they go up really high and overbank the turn.
Okay,
You know?
so they're building on the structure that's already there, but maybe making it taller or making it
Smaller,
slightly more
lower.
tight and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so they can reduce the level of supports or
Yeah.
increase them, but usually it follows the same rough footprint.
Okay,
Not always, when they do dabble
change
a
some
bit,
bits,
but
and then they're also adding the new track.
then they add the new track on top of it.
Okay,
So it's cheaper because obviously
in the
you're
long
not
run.
you're not completely starting from scratch.
Yeah,
You're
but also they'll save money in the long run from maintenance.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then you're getting a new ride basically.
Yeah.
So they did all that, and it's at this point we should note that RMC designed it
The
mostly,
The new coaster.
designed, fabricated, and constructed. They did
Right.
all three
Right.
of the process. So they designed the coaster, then well they didn't actually. They probably didn't design the coaster. I think it's outsourced to a different team, and Alan's part of
Okay.
that team, but they work together kind of thing.
Right.
So they fabricated. So they have a warehouse where they literally welded steel track together,
Mm-hmm.
and then RMC employees went on site and built the ride.
Okay.
So they do most of the
So they monopolised it all.
yes, and what that means is that they can do things cheaper
Yeah.
because obviously there's no the profit margins for them. It's just all at the end.
Yeah, they're not paying anyone
Exactly.
to do stuff.
Yeah. So not only was it cheaper anyway because they're building on top of an already existing ride, but it's
Mhm.
cheaper again because they were the ones doing most of it.
In a way, that's like the best business model you could have.
It is, but
for a roller coaster manufacturer.
but then you fall into traps where RMC have fallen before, which we'll talk about when no one really talks about.
Okay.
So they built New Texas Giant, and looking back at it today, based on RMC coasters we see today, it was tame as hell.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah,
the
but
time,
but that's understandable
Mhm.
because they weren't going to go crazy, were they?
But at the time, everyone was like, "This is mental."
Yeah.
You
Of
know,
course. Of course.
Never seen this before.
Yeah.
They've made the ride so much better, and obviously Six Flags took a gamble,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Well, we'll have that." So the next year they did another one.
Oh. Wait, on a different wooden
A
roller
different
coaster.
wooden coaster. This time, the Rattler
How many do they have?
became Iron Rattler.
Wow, I see what they did there.
And on this one, they put inversions. So they
Okay.
started to kind of slowly make things a bit more interesting.
Mhm.
It's also worth noting that those first two iBox track rides didn't have RMC trains. The trains weren't built by RMC.
On these first two you've just spoken about.
Yeah,
Oh,
built by
why?
Gerstlauer. Because RMC couldn't build their own trains at that point. They
Right.
didn't have the facilities.
Does that mean they're good trains?
Hmm?
Because they weren't built by RMC.
Yeah, they're better. They're actually better. Everyone likes them more.
Yeah.
They're a lot more open, a lot more free. The lap bars aren't as crap. The shin guards aren't as bad.
Mm.
They don't put you in an awkward position. So yeah, they're better. Obviously, they built their own trains again to kind of lean on the fact that they're doing all of it.
Mhm.
So they fabricate all the parts, well, most like 95% of the parts for their trains, and then build the trains themselves.
Mhm.
But I think they're badly designed. It gets into the there's kind of like some people think they're okay. If you aren't tall, they're bearable.
They're fine. They're fine for me, but
Yeah.
I can see why you'd be uncomfortable, and they were kind of uncomfortable.
If you're tall, what happens is your legs end up going underneath the seat. So the
That's
entire
not fun.
time you have to sit really awkwardly,
Yeah.
which is annoying while you're going up the lift hill. But as soon as you're going down the first drop, you kind of forget.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not overly comfortable.
But isn't that just like a basic thing that they've got wrong?
And that's and kind of a few things.
Mm.
This is it. The main synopsis of what I'm trying to get at here, and we haven't really got there yet, is that RMC are very good at producing track.
Mhm.
That's it.
Full stop.
Seriously, full stop. Trains,
Yeah.
ride systems,
I think, but we'll probably get to this later, but I think that's the issue with what they're doing in doing the whole process themselves, is that
exactly.
they're like doing quantity rather than quality and spreading themselves thinner so that they can't do what they do well.
Exactly, and that is one of the things you have to be careful about doing everything yourself.
Because if
Is
they...
other companies could do it better. It's simple
Exactly,
as that.
and if they wanted to produce a top quality ride, then they'd have to spend a bit more to get someone else to do, say, the train, so that they're good.
But they've kind of gone for a thing of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And the trains work.
People are still buying
Of course,
the rides, so why would they change?
The trains work. The main problems with the trains as well, they're comfortable enough, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a fan of the way they look. I think they're really old school.
Yeah.
As in most train designs, this decade are open, exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Most are now, most sit-down coasters, for example, you're kind of raised off the platform of the ride. Think any Muck Rides launch coaster.
Yeah.
Your feet are dangling.
Yeah.
There's no sides.
No.
You're just there.
It's literally just a chair on a platform.
Yeah, and most manufacturers now doing the same thing.
It is very old school of like...
It's very boxy.
Kind of a mine train vibe.
Yeah, well, it's old school wooden coaster vibe. That's literally it. And I think that's a real shame because...
They clearly haven't really put much effort into like innovating it in any way. They've just gone, okay, we're going to make a train. What does a train look like? Yeah. And copied like what they already were like, maybe?
Perhaps.
I don't know.
But then we get onto the issue of capacity, and basically they're designed not great in the sense of they're really awkward to operate.
Yeah.
So you have to put your seatbelt on first,
yeah.
and the ops check the seatbelt. Then you put down the lap bar, and the ops check the lap bar,
mm-hmm.
and then you can dispatch. And that whole process is very time consuming.
Yeah.
And because of that, and a few other factors that RMC don't seem to be too interested in making sure their rides are extremely high capacity, so they don't always care about them dealing with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
That often they're a bit slow in terms of getting people on and off. And like Steel Vengeance, which is meant to be the best roller coaster in the world, awful capacity.
Yeah.
Really
Which is
bad.
just a shame though.
Yeah, exactly. No one can ride it.
Yeah.
And that had many issues where it was only running one train for ages. First it bumped on the very first day it opened, which is 10 out of 10. Then the mid-course brake run didn't work for ages. So yeah, capacity and trains and overall package, it ain't as great as you'd actually anticipate.
Right.
If they aren't as reliable as other companies.
I think the issue is that their reputation is so huge of like these rides are insane and incredible, and then when you actually like look at what they do, it's kind of like, oh, but they make rubbish trains and they don't do this and that.
Yeah. And that may not be a problem for now, right?
Yeah.
Because parks are going to them. Parks are asking them for rides.
Yeah.
But that won't always be the case.
Because then soon everyone will be RMC'd.
Well, this is it. At the end of my video, I talked about the fact that these hybrid coasters and the first and kind of main model are already kind of becoming, not already kind of, but there's so many of them.
At some point, they'll be boring.
They'll be oversaturated.
Yeah.
I quoted the B&M inverted coaster, which is a ride, a model that exists in 30 parks around the world.
Yeah.
Someone made a very good point that, we're enthusiasts and we care that we, parks have the same type of ride, but the normal park goers may not, which is a very valid point.
What do you mean by that?
So
we care that every park has an invert and everything.
Yeah, I don't want, if there's two parks right next to each other, I don't want them to have both have the same model.
Okay.
But the average park goer might not care because they might not even visit both.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very valid point. But then I argued back that parks care. Why would you invest in something that your neighbouring park already has?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. You'd want something new and different.
Yeah. We
look at two parks, say Busch Gardens Williamsburg and King's Dominion, pretty close. They basically against each other. Their rides are very different.
Right.
They don't really share very many models.
Yeah, and that's how you make money though, isn't it?
Exactly. So as soon as a large portion of these parks have RMCs...
The ones next door aren't going to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? Is oversaturation is an actual thing.
Yeah.
And it happens. And it's kind of always already getting busy.
But what are you saying, if they did things better, that they could overcome that problem? Like, what was your point before?
No, the way to overcome the problem is diversity.
Right. So they only currently do one type of thing. They need to start thinking about others.
They do 3.
Okay.
The iBox track, the Topper track, and the Raptor track.
Are they all different, or are they pretty much the same?
The iBox and Topper are very similar.
Okay.
In the sense that where the iBox is a steel track on a wooden support.
Yeah.
The iBox.
Yeah.
The Topper, as I said, there was 6 pieces of wood, laminated wood. The Topper has 4, and the final 2 is replaced by a thick metal, like rectangle.
Sheet.
Yeah.
A sheet of metal.
Not a sheet. It's quite big, and it's a rectangle of metal.
It's thick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that sits there, and then the train runs on top of that.
Okay.
So you're kind of strengthening.
So it's less expensive to change, but you're still adding steel to it and making it better.
Yeah, you're making it stronger and more versatile, but keeping the wooden feel and aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a compromise.
Okay.
You're not going full steel,
okay,
and you're not making it a hybrid coaster that's half wood, half steel.
Mm-hmm.
You're making it a wooden coaster that's more durable, more reliable, and more versatile.
Okay.
But not many parks have picked up on it.
Well, if you're going to RMC, you might as well just do the iTrack.
Yeah, because it's less maintenance.
Yeah.
From that. So, and then the final one is the Raptor track, which is their little monorail track, where they have literally a single rail that the trains are inline configuration, so one behind the other.
Mm.
And it kind of like whips through a very tight layout. They're very tight rides, very compact, very whippy.
Okay.
Capacity's garbage.
Right.
Which you'd expect for a ride that has very small trains.
Wait, this is still a wooden coaster, right?
No, steel.
So it's just a steel coaster.
All steel. So those are the 3. The iBox has been the main success. The Raptor track has 2 installations and a third on the way, potentially a 4th. The Topper track has 2, 3, 4.
Fuming.
4? 3 or 4.
Okay.
They were mainly, the idea mainly was to build them kind of from the ground up.
Mm.
That there'd be good rides to build from scratch.
Okay.
Because, you can opt, instead of opting for a wooden coaster, you can opt for this Topper track, which is a wooden coaster but better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some parks have taken to that, other parks haven't. And other parks are just building the iBox ones from the ground up.
Mm.
But the main thing that most people seem to overlook is the fact that companies or theme parks want RMCs now. At some point, RMC will start having to bid to build their rides at parks like they did back at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that a park goes, we have this plot of land, they talk to different companies and go, what can you do with this land? And RMC will go, well, do this, build a big ride here, this is our proposal, do you want it? And they could go yes or no. And if they say yes, they build it, and if they say no, they have to move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that at the start. They're not really doing it now because parks are going to them.
Yeah.
But they'll have to do it at some point in the future, probably. Who knows? And when they get to that point, it's going to be a bit more difficult. It's kind of like a fad, right, at the moment.
It's a craze that...
Yeah.
It's like when you get a kid's toy that goes mental, like slime, and all the kids want that thing, but then eventually it just goes out of fashion like really quickly.
Yeah. And it makes sense. An RMC makes sense if you've got an old crappy wooden coaster that you want to fix.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of those in Europe. There's not a lot of old crappy wooden coasters that either aren't so old that they're heritage.
Yeah.
Or they're either too new or too old.
Yeah.
There's no in between. So there's not a lot of scale for that. And then when you really, really think about it, why would you want an RMC from the ground up? Because
I don't know, because I always assumed that they only did, from what I heard people saying about it, obviously I never really looked into it that deeply, but I always thought it was just your RMC and old thing.
Yeah. No, you can build them from the ground up.
But why would you?
Exactly. Why would you? Because essentially what you're buying is iBox RMCs ride no different than a steel roller coaster. Mm-hmm. They might as well be a steel roller coaster. So why would you pay for a ride that's more costly to maintain?
Wooden, but to be steel.
Yes, exactly. To be wooden, but to be steel.
Yeah, just go steel.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
Other companies can do the same thing or are even mimicking it now. Intamin are literally mimicking some of the elements that RMC made kind of popular. So why would you? That's the main question. And Parks may continue to do so, but who knows? We could be wrong about all of that. They could be booked up for ages. Who knows? Parks may still continue to want to build them from the ground up, and yeah, I don't know. It's just food for thought, right? No one really thinks about it. Most people just go RMC, very cool,
Yeah.
Which,
but then I feel like it's a bit of a meme that everything's RMC'd. Every time you say something, and they're like, "Oh, RMC it." Is that a meme or?
It is a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bad meme.
A bad meme.
It is a bad meme. It's not funny.
But I feel like people take the mick a little bit, like about the craze that it is of like everything's just being RMC.
No, but they want it.
Yeah, but then they take the mick out of it.
They don't. What do you mean take the mick out of it?
If you're memeing it, like, "Oh, RMC it."
No, but really, they want it. Like, as much as people joke about it, they really want it.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they're good rides in terms of they're almost tailored towards enthusiasts or what enthusiasts want, while still managing to make the average park goers enjoy it too, which is interesting. Don't know, but yeah, enthusiasts love them because they're full of airtime, full of really strong airtime. They whip you around loads of elements. Basically, enthusiasts love negative G's, airtime of any form. If you build a ride with loads of airtime, enthusiasts go, "Oh, I like that." It could be crap as hell, but they'll be like, "Oh, I like that." So that's what RMCs are. I saw someone say that when you really think about it, they can't do that much.
What do you mean? Elements wise?
Yeah, well, they're all the same kind of vibe. It's like RMCs can be negatively intense, so airtime, but they're not very positively intense. They don't really push you into your seat. You don't feel a lot of force on you.
Yeah, so it's not varied.
No, it's more one-sided, but that's what you get with a wooden coaster. But the thing that a wooden coaster has that an RMC doesn't is complete and utter chaos. The rattly feeling.
Yeah.
That kind of makes up for the fact that it isn't as positively intense.
Yeah, because that's another like sensation that you've got as well.
You don't have that on RMCs.
Yeah.
It's not chaotic in that kind of vibe.
I remember, because obviously the only RMC we've been on is Wildfire, and I remember just being like, there was something that was like weird about it, and maybe it is that thing you just spoke about, how there's no like rattling.
Well, yeah.
Because you kind of expect there to be, but then there isn't.
It's very, very smooth.
Yeah, and in a way it's weird.
But then I'd say that, what about Boulder? That's a wooden coaster.
Yeah.
That doesn't rattle.
Doesn't it?
No. But then I would say, from gut feeling, I would say that Boulder is more chaotic than Wildfire.
Yeah, but I think that's just because it turns so much.
What do you mean turn so much?
Like, you're just going, you turn a corner and then you go up, down, turn a corner. Do you know what I mean? It's quite tight and...
Yeah, I guess. Don't know. Yeah.
The layout of it, I mean, is more compact than Wildfire. I don't know.
But they definitely lack that wooden coaster feeling. People enjoy them. I don't know. This is really one-sided because we have, as you said, have only been one. And I kind of came out going, sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a bit more than it was. I don't think we got it on perhaps the best day for it.
Who knows?
But it's enjoyable. It's definitely a very good coaster, Wildfire, and they definitely produce very good coasters.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Yeah, but this is the issue, when everybody hypes it so much that it puts them in like a god tier that they just can't reach unless it's under optimal conditions. And I think when you expect something to be good, it's harder for it to be good.
Exactly.
Which is probably our main problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you have people
raving, saying it's so good, and then you get there and you're like, wow.
I just wanted a bit more from it. Didn't pack the punch I was expecting.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. But I don't know whether others will, perhaps Untamed or Anguazi or Steel Vengeance will pack more of a punch. Don't know.
There's an interesting manufacturer.
For sure. Innovated in the wooden roller coaster kind of industry, to the point where even wooden manufacturers or wooden fabricators are now kind of mimicking them as well by including inversions on their rides.
Yeah.
Because GCI said that at IAAPA that they're working on an inverting or including or creating wooden coasters that feature inversions.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely wouldn't have done that if RMC didn't.
There wouldn't be a need.
No. So they've definitely made an impact. They've changed the game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're losing crappy wooden coasters, which some people are upset about. Who knows how many more there are to go.
Yeah.
Before it kind of slows down.
That's what I'd be worried about if I was in the team. Just that they've created this thing that's really good, but that it's kind of like it's going to run out eventually, which is kind of sad.
Which they must know.
Yeah.
Of course. So they must be planning ahead.
Who knows? I mean, maybe they'll do something more crazy again and innovate again.
Well, this is it. They have to keep thinking about how can we make our product different and make it a worthwhile purchase for parks, right? They want to be competitive. So I don't know what they're going to use as their unique selling point for being competitive. Yeah. Don't know though. It's, very interesting company. They've done a lot. First coaster was 2011.
Yeah, that's pretty mad.
And what?
Within 10 years, they've done all of that.
2011. Yeah. Yeah, so less than 10 years and they've already built, I don't know, like 20 coasters or something. So this is it. Six Flags just popularised them to the point where, because Six Flags was doing it at every single park they own, other companies are like, I want that as well, you know? So...
Well, that created competition between, like...
chains.
Chains, yeah.
And then it's kind of slowly started to leak outside of America. You know, we've had Untamed, Zadra, Wildfire, and then over in Asia, Hakuge.
They're doing well.
They are doing well.
For now.
And this is it. I don't know. I don't think Europe's going to be the biggest market for them in terms of RMCing rides, upgrading rides, because there just aren't that many wooden coasters that are viable. Robin Hood at Wallaby Harland was the perfect thing because it was crap and old and no one really liked it, but the layout was perfect for something like an RMC. But, you look at anything wooden in the UK and the layouts aren't that great for RMC rides. So go on, let's have a look at some questions or people's thought.
Lush Velvet Coaster says, I've only ridden one, Untamed, and it was both exactly as I expected and totally different. It was so smooth it didn't quite feel like a coaster, not intense but just super fun. Love the double inverting stall and sideways airtime. Will be interesting to see how they age in 10 or 20 years. That's interesting that she thought the same as us about how it wasn't what's the word you used before about wooden
coasters?
They don't
rattle.
Yeah, rattly.
Well, of course, but they don't. It's not. Yeah. It is glass smooth.
Yeah.
But then, is it too smooth?
Exactly. That's what I think. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right.
And as she said, it's not intense.
Yeah.
And I think that, in my personal opinion, and this is where people change.
Yeah.
For me, rides have to swing both ways. They have to be positively intense, with pushing you down to your seat, and negatively intense, rising you up. Because it's the difference between them that kind of exaggerates and exacerbates the whole experience, right?
Yeah.
If you only know one, it's not as good. But when you know both, exactly. When you go from being crushed into your seat to flying out of your seat, that difference is massive.
There's more of a range between what you're feeling.
That's what I want.
Someone called Merlin Theme Parks, but they're not Merlin Theme Parks, says, I really enjoy RMCs. They provide great airtime and some wacky elements. It's amazing how they have taken the industry by storm over the past decade and how much better they've become. Their latest additions, Steel Vengeance, are amazing, and I'm waiting to see what they do next.
Yeah, they've definitely continued to kind of where parks have let them, they've just gone more and more crazy.
Yeah.
Every iteration has been, let's try this, let's try that. Let's make it a bit bigger, let's make it a bit steeper.
Yeah, they're not afraid, are they?
No. But it's iterative, isn't it? It's not like they're doing it in one big go. Which is the way to do it, iteratively.
John says, big fan of the two I've been on, Untamed and Steel Vengeance, and want to go on more, especially a Raptor. Really intrigued to see what areas they move into in the future with T-Rex track and whatever else they develop. Would they look at different style trains in the future? We had quite a lot of comments about how the trains aren't suitable for tall people. And they're a bit rubbish.
Well, yeah. I'm sure the Dutch people would know that.
Yeah.
After riding Untamed.
They're so tall.
Yeah. Who knows whether they'll dabble in different trains. I don't know. It depends what they're... I don't know.
I feel like trains are just not their priority at all.
No. It's not their expertise.
Yeah. A lot of people talking about the general hype and some saying that it's overhyped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though.
Well, every good roller coaster ends up usually being overhyped. You know, as soon as it becomes mainstream, it becomes overhyped.
Yeah.
I think Taron, probably Steel Vengeance, but then you always have those hidden gems that are a bit at lesser known parks. Like Wildfire probably wasn't overhyped until everyone went to ride it.
Yeah.
And stuff like Carnan isn't overhyped because no one goes to ride it.
Yeah.
Even though it is one of the best coasters in Europe. You know, so you kind of have to get to these rides before people overhype them.
Yeah, and you have to discover them because that's always the best way I find.
Yeah, you got to go in with the mentality that's going to be garbage.
Well, that's like, I think what happened with Helix for me is that I didn't expect anything to be any good on that ride.
Same.
And it was mental.
Really good.
So I think that's the way forward. Just go to a park that no one bothers to go to, and maybe you'll find a good ride there.
Mm-hmm. This probably hasn't been what you'd expect to hear. I imagine when most podcasts, or most people talk about RMC, they just talk about how great they are.
Yeah. That's not what we do here on Coasterboat Rambles.
I always like to be a devil's advocate. What's the point in playing the same side? When everyone plays the same side, you don't play a different side. Yeah. There's two sides to the coin, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we can totally appreciate how great they are. It's just more interesting to talk about how not great they are.
Yeah, it actually is, though.
So, you know.
Yeah, because what we're going to do, sit here and be like, oh my gosh, wow, this element's so amazing, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, so, some of the elements are. On Wildfire, I really loved the Zero-G stall. I thought that was fantastic. I didn't expect it to be
Was that the
like
one that went really slow?
You got whipped upside down and then arced, like you're going over the bottom of an airtime hill.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to feel like that because you were still being pushed into your seat, but you're kind of just floating at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We need to get on more, and then we'll have to revisit this and see what's going on with our opinions.
I don't think it'll change.
I don't think it will either, because now we've got the bar of like RMCs are very good but not incredible.
Well, they are incredible for it depends what you like.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I don't think it's really our cup of tea.
No. Well, I would have thought it'd be more yours because, you know...
I know.
You don't go for chaos.
Yeah.
You like smooth and controlled.
But I think it was just wrong. It was like a juxtaposition of things. It was like my brain was telling me that it was meant to be this other thing and it just wasn't, which made it feel weird. Do you get me?
I always knew it wouldn't be.
It's like if you went on a steel coaster expecting it to be like a steel coaster and then you started rattling around.
I guess.
Like SLCs. But yeah, it was just weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was good, but it's just, we started nitpicking, I think.
Someone's got to, man. Someone's got to.
Yeah. But I really like the story of RMC.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the company and what they've done.
Definitely. It's a real kind of underdog story, honestly.
Yeah.
They have done a lot of great things. Here's hoping that they just continue to
change it up.
Innovate, and then two, maybe revisit. They did revisit the train design to reduce friction and improve the rate at which you can steer. So the rate of turning is smaller. But they didn't really look at the design at all. As in the actual kind of chassis, just the steerings and the wheels and that kind of thing. So, don't know. It's interesting. I feel like they're safe for the immediate future.
Yeah.
But after that, depends on what they do. Whether they do anything more with the Raptors or I don't know. The whole industry is an industry that is very difficult to gauge what could happen.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what the next fad will be. You don't really know who's going to come up with the next big thing.
Yeah. Because most of it's already been done, but like what you're seeing is only innovations on what's already out there.
Yeah.
Like with what RMC have done. It was already a wooden coaster, but now they've changed the track a bit. If you have a topic though that you want us to cover, we are open to any suggestions. So you can find us on Twitter. I think our handle is CBR Podcast. Who knows? And you can also just message Coasterbot on Instagram or whatever platform you want to. And if you're feeling nice, leave us a little iTunes review. Don't think we've had many of them recently since we stopped doing our little sentence.
Go on, give them a sentence then.
So
this is a sentence that you need to firstly rate 5 stars on iTunes and then paste this sentence in.
Only if you feel like we're worthy of your 5 stars. I don't know, what sentence should we have?
You gotta think of one, man. They're all me. If you read the reviews, you'll see.
Yeah, they're all very strange
exactly,
reviews.
So continue in the same vein.
I'm trying to think of something to do with RMC, just so we know it's from this episode. What was the guy's name? Alan and
Fred.
Just put I love Alan and Fred.
There you go.
That's your sentence.
Sorted.
And do us a little review, and then we'll know that you were here and you listened to this one.
I was here.
Yeah.